Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Downer, and thanks for joining us on the Iowa Conversation. I am once again joined by Ryan Frederigill. He is the funeral director and owner of Celebrate Life Iowa. How are we doing today, Ryan?
I am great, Mike. Hope you're doing well too.
Doing great. Today's a good point for everybody because this is kind of the starting point, and so we're going to be discussing, when it does come that time, how do I start planning for a funeral when someone dies? The big question I have for you is what are the immediate legal and practical steps a family must take in the first 24 to 48 hours after a death in Iowa?
Absolutely. It would be one of the very first steps is selecting a funeral home, and at Celebrate Life Iowa, we love the opportunity and we appreciate the opportunity that people do and trust in us. And again, we get those calls. We're going to then walk that family through exactly what they need to know to plan a funeral or a cremation. Um, you know, and then it goes specific to which city they're in too, but not a problem at all. We really would walk everybody through what exactly they need to know, but they're going to start by selecting a funeral home. Then from there, it's really a matter of what type of services are they going to have to honor their loved one? Are they going to have a funeral and a burial? Are they going to have a cremation? Or are they going to have a funeral followed by cremation, or just be cremated and then have a service, or no service at all? So there's a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered within the first 24 to 48 hours from a funeral home specifically that they choose to work with. And again, we would love the opportunity for those to call us, and we could sure assist them through that process as well.
No, I appreciate that was a great answer. So, I know there's going to be a few differences here, and if you could just kind of let everybody who's listening know what should families do immediately after a loved one passes away, especially if the death is unexpected versus expected.
Absolutely. So great question, Mike. And again, it really does matter where that person is at if it's unexpected. If they're in a home, not under hospice care, they need to call 911 immediately. And the sheriff's office is going to either send paramedics or the medical examiner, sometimes both, because the person does have to be pronounced at a scene. A funeral home can't pick up a loved one from a scene without having the okay or the blessing from a medical examiner's office in an unwitnessed death. From there, they can decide whether that person or individual that passed away is going to have an autopsy or not have an autopsy. If they say they're not going to have an autopsy and it's okay for us to pick up, we would sure go to the house immediately to get their loved one in our care. If an individual is an attended death at a nursing home, at a hospital, from there, in a hospice house, and they pass away, their family is allowed to call the funeral home directly to come right there and then pick up. So those would be the difference between an unattended and an attended death.
That makes perfect sense, and that answers clears up a lot of questions. So, how soon should um, families contact Celebrate Life Iowa, and what services are provided during those first few hours?
Absolutely. So we find, again, it's every family's a little bit different, but
Yep.
we've been finding more families that choose cremation and have a loved one pass away at home are keeping their loved ones in home a little bit longer, as family members drive in and have that opportunity to view them and be with them for a little bit. So we're having more scheduled time pickups at an individual's residence. Say mom dies at 1, we get the call. From there, they want us there at 6 or 7 at night. No problem at all. That is allowed for families to do. And again, it gives them that opportunity to see their loved one in a comforting setting of their own home. So that is it's kind of a trend, I would say. We are seeing that. But again, if they want us there right away, we're going to put a staff member en route right away to get the individual picked up.
That's that's extremely important to know. What so when this does happen, what important documents should families locate within the first 24 hours after a death?
If a family member has a social security card and has a birth certificate, it sure does help. If the other family members know all of that stuff very confidently, mom or dad's social security number, and also, their parents' names, they don't have to physically have that documentation for us. We will then put it into the system to register or to file a death certificate or send it to the doctor. If we do or were given a wrong social security number, the system from the state of Iowa, it will flag and tell us the number is wrong. So then we can go back to the family and verify why is this flagging? Is it really wrong, or is it right, or do we have a middle name off or something like that within the system?
Perfect. That's a good piece of mind to know that as well. So, because I know that not everybody has those documents just readily
Hmm.
available at the tips of their fingers. So, and plus during a stressful time, it wouldn't be that uncommon for someone to, transpose a couple numbers, I'm sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Um, so what decisions and notifications should be handled within the first 48 hours?
Absolutely. So notifications, we would notify Social Security within that first 48 hours, almost 99% of the time, unless we're still just missing a number. So if they would notify us with that information, then we can do that. But from a family standpoint, they really probably need to contact their banker, their lawyer, life insurance companies too. We help get the death certificate, and we also help families file that claim with the life insurance company if they need it. But again, most life insurance companies are going to want to mail out a packet, and then they expect a certified copy of a death certificate that then would have to be completed and sent back in to the life insurance company. And we're happy to walk families through that. We do that on an almost daily basis. If anything that we can help to do that. But then from there, it's just notifying those um, places within the money management system of the individual where they have funds, brokers, a lawyer for the estate. Just start notifying those and start lining them up. It wouldn't necessarily have to be done within 48 hours, but at some point relatively soon. Those are really good things to do.
So so let's say in the first few weeks, are there any other financial or administrative organizations that families should contact in that first week or so after a passing?
The big ones that would be to contact would be like if you have IPERS, or if you have life insurance, pensions, retirement accounts, investment brokers, and a lawyer. I would certainly contact all of those immediately when I could, and see if there's any steps that they could help them or tell them that they have to do. With insurance companies specific, there's so many different companies, and they all have their own set of rules of what exactly you have to do. Some don't require a death certificate, most do. And so then you have to wait for that death certificate to be signed by the doctor. And then once the doctor signs it, we at Celebrate Life Iowa can get you those certified copies of the death certificate to send off to the life insurance companies.
Perfect. So that you did a great job of leading me into my next question. So what a lot of people don't think about is that there are actually legal requirements in the state of Iowa. And so what are the legal requirements for filing a death certificate, and how does Celebrate Life Iowa assist in that process?
Absolutely. So we, as the funeral directors, we create the death certificate after we meet with the family and they provide that information to us. Then we send it to the doctor. The doctor then signs it. Once the doctor signs it, we register it and then get those certified copies for the family. Doctors have 11 days to sign the death certificate unless it's an autopsy. Medical examiners have however long it takes to get them to come up with a cause of death, and then they can sign it. And then we would in turn get those certified copies of the death certificate for the family.
Very good. So we've got everything, kind of covered on, what to expect and processing and, all the immediate costs and very short-term costs. Um, but we'll just kind of wind this episode up, Ryan. And what I wanted to
Okay.
ask you is, what are the immediate and long-term funeral related expenses that families should prepare for, and how does Celebrate Life Iowa help families understand the costs up front?
Yeah, so if you've ever looked at funeral home websites, and again, they're not that exciting to look at, other we follow obituaries, which is always a good thing of reading friends and families. Uh, Most funeral homes in Iowa do not put costs on websites. There are a few of us that do, and we have been doing it ever since we started in 2013, serving Iowa families. I think it's very upfront. It's very clear. From there, it's really a matter of if you want a funeral or if you want a cremation. And then from there, if you want a funeral, there's typically going to be some other expenses at the cemetery. You're going to have a vault. You're going to have opening and closing. And then you have to own the plot too to actually be buried in. And again, even if you're going to be cremated, same thing there. So really just locking in the cost on today's prices by doing a pre-plan and having a plan in place. That money is going to be guaranteed not to go up on an individual that signs up. And so again, having a plan prior to needing a funeral director is always the better way to do it. And if you can lock in pricing and guarantee that not to go up because you're locked in, again, it's a huge financial saving for your families years down the road. Not a fun topic to think about, actually planning ahead, having a funeral paid for, having a cremation paid for. But those that do it always come back and say it was a relief to have this taken care of. My family's not going to have to worry about it now. And I do believe that to be a very beneficial for your loved ones.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement. And since our talks, um, I'll be real honest with you. Me and my family, my sons and wife included, have all talked about this, and you and I will be having a conversation very soon. Because after everything that you've taught me and all of our listeners, I 1000% agree in, plan ahead. And it seems to also, it's an uncomfortable subject that I've had with my kids. My wife's pretty good at, comprehending it, but I'm just kind of trying to drive your point home is sometimes, I'd rather have it be uncomfortable now than have to have them deal with it later.
I couldn't agree more. And it is just, it really truly is a gift to give your family members your plan. And again, it sounds ultra corny. I get it, but it is so helpful. And sitting across from a funeral director with a family that has previous made a plan versus sitting across a family as a funeral director that hasn't talked about death because it's a scary topic. Their eyes look like deer in headlights. It's just a completely different family dynamics when a loved one has a plan versus when a loved one does not have a plan.
Right. And again, I'll stop rambling on, but I'm going to let everybody out there know that the more that I talk with my sons about this, the more comfortable they're becoming. It's still nothing they enjoy, but at the same point, they're taking deep breaths, and it really is helping a lot. So my recommendation to everyone out there is call Ryan at Celebrate Life Iowa. Um, and yeah, let's call a spade here. It probably is going to be a little uncomfortable at first, but it does get easier.
I agree. I agree.
Well, thanks a lot for everything you do. Thanks for your care and compassion for Iowa families. Um, we all really appreciate the hard work and compassion that you and Celebrate Life Iowa put into, difficult times in families' lives. So thanks a lot, Ryan, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
You're welcome, Mike. Have a blessed day.
You as well.